Welcome to this Believe in NFL Draft Prospect podcast interview edition. You know it's a Thursday, so we're bringing you some insight into some of the most outstanding football players in the entire country. We've closed the book on the 2021 season, 2021 NFL draft season, I should say. So we're moving right into 2022. I have here who I believe could be one of the big risers in the 2022 cornerback class. It's going to be a fantastic class with guys like Derek Stingley and Andrew Booth potentially. There's a lot of really good, talented cornerbacks next year. This young man, though, is somebody that I think that needs to really start getting a lot more talk. Really talented defensive back out of Texas Christian University, which has been putting into the NFL a lot of talented defenders, to say the least, specifically in the secondary, going back to Jason Verrett and Trevon Merrick this year and Jeff Gladney in 2020. There's a lot of talented defensive backs. I think I have one of the next in the line here, Mr. Noah Daniels, star defensive back, cornerback for TCU. Noah, I appreciate you again, man. Taking a little bit of time. How's everything been going?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everything's been going good. I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, all good, man. All good. I am really excited about this one, Noah, because, again, you know, what we were talking before the show, I think that you're a guy that people are going to start talking about a whole lot more as we get into the 2021 season, and then the draft process obviously gets officially underway, you know, in a few months. I know it's going to kind of go by really quick. And I kind of wanted to take you on a little bit of a journey because I had done my research on you, not only at TCU, but kind of the recruiting side of everything. So if you could take me back real quick to coming out of Clear Creek High School. I know you're a Texas guy. You obviously decided to stay in state to play your football at Texas Christian, but take me through recruitment a little bit, how you enjoyed it, and why ultimately TCU for you was the best landing spot.
Well, it all started at the end of my junior year. I got my first attention, I would say, from the University of Tulsa, and they end up offering me first. And from they offered me on a Monday, and by Friday I was at 10 offers. So it blew up then to 28, but ultimately I wanted to stay near the state of Texas, or particularly in Texas. And I was committed to Baylor at first before I had the TCU offer because of the proximity. But once TCU offered me, I fully committed to them because I feel like as a defensive back, they had actually most importantly, they had more coaching stability. And as a defensive back, they developed defensive prospects better than a lot of other schools. So I like the proximity from home, being 4 hours. If it's an emergency, I can go home, but I'm in a whole different environment at the same time. So TCU it just fit. It just fit, checked off all the boxes, I would say.
Yeah, I know when I talked about my intro a little bit, you know, from Verrett to Gladney to Merrick, there's been a lot of great defensive backs come out of TCU, and I think that you're kind of the next in line, to be honest with you, Noah. But one thing that I was really intrigued by, and I think a lot of teams are going to be intrigued by, is, you know, long corners. You're listed at 6 foot, but, you know, the one thing that I kind of have a background in is I was actually on the track side of things for a little bit too. And then I saw some of your high school track numbers, which 10.34 in the 100-meter, which is flying, 21.01 in the 200, which is also flying. Can you talk to me a little bit about your athletic background, maybe outside of football, and how much maybe the track background has helped you in developing your game?
I started running track in seventh grade. I was always fast. I was always one of the top 3, top 4, but I didn't really, I really reached my, I wouldn't say peak, but I really took off speed-wise, I would say around 10th grade. And that's really when I took off. And then I started running track. I was usually only a 200-meter guy because my coach didn't really trust me in 100-meter because he said he had a feeling because I had long legs that I couldn't get out. So he finally put me in the 100-meter, and I ran against this dude from the University of Miami who was really fast. And I came in second place. I lost to him by like 0.02 milliseconds. So I started running the 100-meter then. And then ever since then, I just ran both. I ran 100 and 200, but I was always more of a football player that just ran track on the side. I was always more invested in football than track. I just ran track because of the ability and because of the extra conditioning.
That's funny, man. It's really funny because I think it just speaks to how natural of an athlete you are, because it's like some guys are like pure track guys and they work so hard. It's like 10.3 something is an outstanding time. Like that is, elite in high school, and then moving into college. Like, I mean, like who knows what the trajectory, maybe you're a Olympic athlete at some point. And I think that's pretty outstanding just to kind of have that background. And I was kind of looking at the background of you. So redshirt in 2017, 2018, you get your feet wet, you play a little bit. And then 2019, unfortunately, you have the injury. And I know this past year, you're the full-time guy outside. And you guys had, probably the most talented secondary in all of college football. And I know, unfortunately, your season got derailed after the fourth game, but just kind of talk to me a little bit, about the season that you had in those 4 games, because I thought you were outstanding on film. I think PFF had you graded very highly. So just talk to me a little bit about your development this season and, just maybe development of yourself as a football player over the last couple of years.
This season, from the beginning, I was really excited because, like I said, I missed the whole 2019 season. So it was exciting to get back out there, but once I got going, it felt good to just be able to play in games again. Because, like I said, I got my feet wet in 2018, but I hadn't played in the game since really high school. But everything was feeling good, and then the injury happened. But as far as the preparation before the season, that's just from confidence and just from the coaching and how much work we put in before the season. So all that was paying off. And then, things happen. But I feel like everything happens for a reason. So I'm not too much concerned about that. But
yeah, I know. And it's unfortunate, of course, that the injury did happen. Noah, can you just kind of go through the injury that you had and just how the rehab has been for you and how you're feeling now?
Oh, the rehab been going great. I'm probably back, I'll say running at about, I'm running at about 90%, accelerating at about 90%. I'm doing real well with the single leg stuff. I'm backpedaling, braking. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm on track to be full-time ready to go for fall camp.
That's fantastic. Fantastic to hear. And again, you're going to get one of the most talented defensive backs. You're going to be able to watch him for all the listeners out there this coming fall. Excited to see number 21 from TCU. And no, I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about, I talked to Ardarius during the draft process, and I talked to Garrett Wallow during the draft process. And I love talking about Coach Patterson because for me, growing up, he was a guy that I always loved to just kind of break down his scheme stuff a little bit with him because he is a outstanding defensive mind. I mean, the 4-2-5 that everybody's running in the NFL now, like that's Gary Patterson. Like he is the revolutionary for that. Talk to me a little bit about the experience you've had to play under such a great defensive mind and just the coaching staff in general during your time at TCU.
First, I'm gonna start the coaching staff in general. It's a great compliment to Coach Patterson. I think the individual position coaches each are top in the country, but Coach Patterson himself, like you said, he's great at what he does. So when you coming in as a freshman, I was lost, because of how complex things are. But as I got older, I realized football is just football, and things started to slow down. But he's definitely playing under him. Definitely has made me a lot better player. Playmaking wise, instinct wise, he puts you in a position to make plays. So it's just up to you to make them. So, but I love playing in his defense. I wouldn't want to play any other defense, to be honest, just because I feel like it maximizes his defense allows you to maximize your talent as a defender playing in his defense.
Yeah, and I always feel every TCU defensive player that comes out is just such advanced from a mental side of everything. So I would definitely recommend for any listener out there that's big into schematics, go look up what Gary Patterson's been doing with 4-2-5s with some match coverages. Like he is the GOAT when we're talking about the 4-2-5 and all those variations of coverages that NFL teams are now using. So would definitely recommend him. And no, obviously the tradition that TCU has now put out, not only defensively, but from a defensive back perspective, is fantastic. I mentioned, again, guys like Jason Verrett, Jeff Gladney, Trevon Merrick, Ardarius Washington. There's a lot of great TCU defensive backs that have come out in recent years. Knowing that you could be the next in line, how special is it to just continue that tradition of talented secondary players?
Just the thought of it is it's mind blowing. But at the same time, the work has to be done first. I have to do it first, and that's more so what my mindset has been setting on is actually getting to that point first, to where I'm able to be. To my name is able to be brought up when you speak. When you bring up those guys, you're able to bring up my name, and I feel like I've played well, but I haven't solidified that spot yet. And right now, that's what I'm focusing on, is solidifying that spot.
And I'm curious because I know a lot of people in, just on Twitter and in the draft community really like Travius Hodges Tomlinson, of course, the other dynamic defensive back, the other corner on the opposite side of you, who is a completely different body type. He's listed about 5'9", 177 compared to your 6 foot, 190 plus pounds. So for you, do you guys have a really good relationship, and are you able to kind of help each other? Because I know it's a little different when you guys have such different body types, but is there things that you take from his game? Is there things that you've given to him? Just curious about your relationship in general.
Me and him, we have a good relationship in general. The whole corner room we have a good relationship in general. Yeah. He's a lot younger than me, so like from a technical standpoint, I learned that from the coaches, so it was nothing I could really just take from him. Sure. But we do have different. It is things that I do better than him. It's things he does better than me. He has great feet, great hips. I don't know. We like you said, we're different. We're different styles, but we're able to complement each other. He plays most to the field. I play to the boundary. I'm bigger and longer. That makes more sense. He has more quicker feet. He plays to the field, so he's talented in his own way. So I think we complement each other great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm kind of curious because I know there's some. I mean, the cornerback position has always been paramount on the NFL level, but especially recently, I feel like it is without question one of the top 3 positions that you need for a successful football team. So I'm curious whether it was growing up or now, are there some cornerbacks that you watch a ton that you try to emulate to a degree on the NFL level?
Denzel Ward, Jari Alexander, Jeff Gladney. It's a couple of them. I try to look at guys that have similar height, weight, and skill sets to me. You know what I'm saying? So I could, so it makes more sense trying to translate that over to the. But it's those are the type of guys I like to look up to.
I love it. And now, Noah, I know that, we want a fully healthy season, obviously, but besides just, putting together a high volume of snaps this year and a full resume for your final season at TCU, what are some things for you that are the next step for you to not only be considered, hopefully in the next in line of TCU greats, but hopefully one of the best cornerbacks in all of college football?
Like, do you mean improvement wise on my game?
Yeah. So what are some things in your game do you think that could take you to that level?
I could definitely improve on off coverage. I could definitely improve on locating, tracking the football, getting my head around better, high pointing. It's a lot of things I can improve on, honestly. Really everything, honestly. Because it's being under Coach Patterson's defense, he has a philosophy. When you reach for perfection, you get greatness. When you reach for greatness, you get good. When you reach for good, you get average. And so I'm reaching for perfection, so I can hopefully be great. So I feel like I can improve everything. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that I feel like I'm just 100% good at.
Sure. And I know it was a little bit frustrating, I'm sure, for most college athletes this past year with the COVID-19 pandemic. And, there's cancellations left and right. There's some conferences that barely made it. FCS folk are pushing into the spring, a lot of uncertainty. Now that we kind of have clear vision and hopefully for a more normal 2021 season, for you potentially being your last at TCU, what are some goals that you have, whether it's individually as a team? Like, what are some things that you want to accomplish this final year?
My final year, I want to get back to where I was my freshman year, which is the Big 12 championship.
Nice.
That's my goal. I want to play for a Big 12 championship, and I want to play for a college football playoff.
I love it. It's great.
I don't really want to talk about individual goals,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you go out there and play well, everything else take care of itself. But as a team, that's our goal.
Yeah, no, and that's well said. It's always, team success is an indicator of individual success, right? If TCU has a great year, I'm sure Noah Daniels was locking down one side of the field. So I love that kind of that mindset there. And my last question for you is, obviously I'm a guy that thinks that you are going to be heavily, liked on the NFL level when you make that jump for the 2022 NFL draft. So just kind of thinking forward a little bit, I know, you have a whole season to play and you're still rehabbing, coming back from the injury, all that good stuff, but kind of looking forward to potentially being that next in line that we keep talking about for have that opportunity to play on the NFL level. When did it become a dream for you? And what type of blessing overall would it be for you to potentially be a professional football player this time next year?
Honestly, if I were to hear, no matter what round it is, to hear my name called, yes, that would be a dream come true. Football is all I've known since I was 8 years old. I've always wanted to play at the highest level. I've always wanted to compete against the best. So, it'll definitely be a dream. And my mindset coming in would be, what can I do to stay here and make a name here once I get there? That is just going to be my mindset. Stay here, make a name.
No, it's a great mindset.
And compete, obviously.
Yeah, man. No, I think that's a great mindset again, Noah, because a lot of players I feel like think that the minute that they get drafted, that's the end of the story, right? Like you made it, but that's just the turning of a page. That's a new chapter. So I think that's a great mindset. Again, joined by Noah Daniels, star defensive back out of TCU, who a player that I think is the next in line and could be one of the top cornerbacks taken in the 2022 NFL draft. Noah, I appreciate you again, man, taking a little bit of time. This was fantastic to just get to know you a little bit, get to a little of the behind the scenes stuff. I really appreciate you taking some time today.
No problem. Thank you.